Hi. Hi. Okay, I'm sitting here and again, we don't know how much time we have. We know it's close, we know we're in the season, and I just know that the Lord is putting these messages out from everyone, so many people. And he's telling us all to get ready. But one thing, you know, that that you need to anyone who has any unforgiveness in their hearts, um, you need to deal with that. You need to get rid of it. You think it's hard. You do. You think it's hard, but it's the easiest thing in the world. It is. I forgive you. I forgive you. How easy is that? I forgive you. You know, and you have to learn to forgive yourself. Forgiveness goes both ways. Forgive those and forgive yourself. A lot of times, okay, I'm not leaving the men out in this. I'm not, but I'm going to go for the women first. Women have a hard time forgiving themselves of things that they think they could have, um, you know, wish they could have changed. That if they would have done it differently, if they would have been better mothers or better this or better that, that wouldn't have happened, and they could have changed maybe their children's lives. Um, Maybe they could have saved a marriage or whatever. And this goes both for men too, but women especially. Women, uh, I- most of us at some point in time, okay, we go through a crazy time. Now, I'm not saying it lasts a long time. It could be just very brief, and most of it is just a very short time. But especially if you got married young and had kids young, you've always been a mother, you've always been a wife, you know, you've never gotten to be just you. I remember I used to tell my kids, "What, you think I've always just been a mom? I'm Mary Beth too. There's a person under here, and I have things that I love. I have things that I would like to do. I would like to have some fun. I would like to do those. You forget that I'm just not only a mother. I'm a person. Well, sometimes when we have a lot of changes in our life and we go through things, sometimes at the end we're like, we just kind of get a little crazy time, and I'm not saying all do it, but I'm saying a lot. I mean, a lot do it. Whether it be, it does, I don't know. Whether it be that you were married, okay, and now you're not married. Now you have to be divorced. Well, what do you got to do? So you start going out with your girlfriends, your single girlfriends, and you start looking forward to your Friday nights or your Saturday nights or whatever it is, and you start going out and having some fun finally. You're not home being wife and mom all the time, like you have, and you think, what about me? This is a time that finally, I get to have a life, it's time for me just to have a little bit of a life and finally get to do what I want to do. We all do it. We all go through it. I don't care if you're the mother of the year, okay? Don't care. You're human. You're human. And the ones who don't, maybe get to actively do that at some point, they keep it inside. And so it affects their relationship, it affects their toward everybody, because they're kind of mad, they're kind of angry, or sad, or sad. I mean, it just seems like nothing they can't get happy. Nothing makes them happy, because they're just so much. They're so heavy. They have no time for themselves. what about me, you know? I want to have some fun too. It's natural. It's normal. Normal, 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 normal. Really. I mean, I know very few people who haven't gone through that. Okay? But then you start, you know, and this time may only last just a little tiny bitty bit. But later on in your life, you think about it all the time. I should have done that. I shouldn't have left them. You know, I shouldn't have been away from my kids. I shouldn't have spent that time away, or I shouldn't have done that, and I should have been a blah, blah, you know. And it's just a shoulda, woulda, coulda. You have a hard time forgiving yourself for that. No matter how hard you get past it, you think, still settles there and comes back. Let it go. Let it go. You know what? You're human. You're not alone. You know, same thing with men. Men who've worked so much, they missed so much in their life. See how that goes? While mom's at home taking care of it all, dad's at work, you know, managing it all to make sure his family's taken care of. You know, mom's weighed down with everything. Dad's working himself to death, but dad's, you know, he feels the same way. You know, he don't even get to be there to see it. You know, feels like a stranger in his own house. It's got to be a medium, you know, a meeting point there. It really does. Has to be a meeting point there. But dad, you know, he gets older and he sees his kids grow and he misses so much. So much. You know, that weighs heavy. There it goes. It's hard to forgive. You may not ever say it to anybody. You know, we may never say fully, you know, what lays on our hearts about that. But it's there. You know, you can try to hide it, you can try to stuff it away, but it's there. Is that unforgiveness of yourself. I don't care. Maybe you had a drug addiction, okay? Maybe for a few years you just weren't there, and you weren't the mother that you know you should have been, or could have been, or would have been during that time. But you got through it, okay? You overcame it. You changed. You did it. Get through it, all right? Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Whatever it was, forgive yourself. You can't live with that. It's too heavy for you. It's too much for you. It's too consuming, okay? Because when you don't let that go, that holds all the space in your heart, because that's how big it is. Because we're harder on ourselves. We're harder on ourselves. You can't let anybody in. You can't move forward. I mean, you can, but not really, you know, because you just beat yourself up all the time. You know how many people do that? How many people do that? You have to forgive yourself. Have to forgive yourself. And the important thing about it is don't go back to that place. You just keep walking forward. Don't go back to that place. You know, don't do it. Don't think you're the only one. Oh, don't think you're the only one, because you're not. You're not the only one. We're all human. You know, there's no guideline, no rule book on how to be parents or how to be married or how to none. You know, because you can't control the other person, first of all. You can't control the other person. And again, if you look back now and understand who the participants were and what the participants were that was in your life too, now you can see how many times you were goaded, you know, to take those other steps to wherever it is you went in your crazy, you know, in your crazy time. Women tend to be more, you know, visually and vocally crazier than men. They're kind of more silent. But it's there. It's there. It is. See, now when you see the outside are the things that come in through our open doors, and that, you know, they agitate it, they goat you, they you know, what word do I want? You know, they silently push you. You know, those silent whispers in your ear that you don't realize are there when you're making these decisions. Now you see many of the things that we did. We all did them. You know, by that underlying, you know, darkness is really what it is. That darkness. You know, but think about it. God always had somebody there. Always had somebody there at the, you know, at the end of the tunnel. The light at the end of the tunnel, that was him. You know, it doesn't matter how long it took you to get there. It doesn't. You got there. You got there. Be proud about that. You're beating yourself up. You got there. But until you can love yourself, you just can't imagine anybody else loving you. You just can't. You just can't think you're worthy enough. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want it. It's done. This is what I do. It's done. Let it go. Let it go. You don't have time. I'm going to tell you this. You don't have time to sit and wallow in this. Okay? You don't. You don't. And if you don't forgive yourself, you have to forgive yourself, then you can forgive others. Okay? You can see how easy it is. You have to forgive others. You know, Jesus is quite clear on this. Quite clear. And I've, for many, many years, have said this. That's a standalone issue. Forgiveness is a standalone issue because he clearly says, if you don't forgive, I can't forgive you. That's how important it is. You know, again, he's God. He's holy. Spoken word. When he speaks something, can't go back on it. Okay? Because he's God. It's a spoken word. Okay? Can't change it. And he means it. If you do not forgive, he cannot forgive you. So easy to forgive. So it is so easy. So easy. Maybe hard to say, but if it is, it's because the pride is there. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Forgive them. You know, there's a lot of people who hold on to things, and it has to be a pure forgiveness. You understand this? It has to be a pure forgiveness. Do you realize Paul, who wrote almost all the New Testament, I mean, you know, 3/4 of it are, do you know what he did before, when he was Saul, when he was a high priest, killed the Christians. I mean, hunted them. Oh, persecuted them terribly. I mean, he murdered people, murdered God's people, you know, the Christians. Murdered them. But yet look where he's standing now. You know, look what God did, you know, for him. Look how God used him. Look what he did. You know, as he was going to Damascus in search for Peter. He was trying to find Peter to kill Peter, right? He was on the road to Damascus. You know, when Jesus knocked him off his horse, and he blinded him for 3 days. Again, sorry about that, but that's that 3 days of darkness, right? Okay. See how he does it? He was blinded for 3 days. 3 days, what happened? Change, deliverance, promise. That's how it works. I had to throw that in there anyway. So Paul's blinded for 3 days. And Jesus comes to him. He says, Paul, why do you persecute me? Why? And he says, who are you? He says, I'm Jesus. You know, he was changed just like that. And he was renamed from Saul to Paul. Do you realize how bad Paul was? I don't know if Paul was just, I mean, I don't think he was, I think he had a good heart because he believed in what he was doing. Because he was believing in the law, you know? He was believing in the law. Not what Jesus was sharing, was showing. He missed it, you know? He was so set in the word that they had, you know, in the word of Moses, and in the law of Moses, he couldn't see that it was being fulfilled, you know, right in front of him, which is happening a lot today. People are so standing so strong in the Bible, in the word of God, they don't realize that it's coming true today. His promises are right before them, but they're standing there being a Pharisees, saying, no, that is, no, they're not hearing. The Lord wouldn't do that. He blah, 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 blah. The Lord is not going to go to the Pharisees and give them what he's giving all of us now. He's not going to do it because they're so stuck in the Word. They don't have open hearing. They don't have open hearts for it. That's why he's going to the people that he's going to. I don't know his exact reasons of who he picks and who he doesn't pick. I don't know. But the ones that I know are all chasing the heart of God. So, look at Paul. Paul had to forgive himself. Paul had to forgive himself. But look what he did for the kingdom of God. And look where God put him. So you have to forgive. You have to forgive yourself. But you have to forgive others. You do. He says you have to love your brother. You have to love your brother. And that doesn't mean blood brother. I mean, a brother is a neighbor, a friend, anybody. Everybody else is your brother. Everybody else is your brother. And he knows the ones that'll never get through. He'll know the ones that won't accept it. He knows the conflict. He knows whose fault it is. And that is another thing of forgiveness. It is who's going to take the blame. Where does the fault lie? Well, if I forgive them, or I say I'm sorry, then that means that I'm at fault and they're not taking any of the blame or the fault. Or who cares? Who cares? He knows. He already knows. He's the only one that matters. He's the only one that matters. Who else? Who cares? Who cares? You really let that argue about that, and let that really have it be a judge of your salvation? Let go. It's the easiest thing in the world. I know you think it's hard. Once you do it, it feels so much better. They don't have to be your best friend. You don't ever have to see him again. Okay? Just get it out. Even if you just go to the Lord, okay? Even if you do not want to be in contact, in the presence of the people that you need to forgive, okay? Even you go to the Lord. Go to the Lord and tell him, Lord, I forgive. I forgive my sister for what she's done to me. I forgive her for not understanding me. I forgive, and whatever it is, Lord, I forgive that coworker of mine who makes my life miserable, and I know it, and I know that I've let her just, affect me, and in what she's done to me. I mean, she's hurt me. I don't care what it is, and just say, Lord, I forgive her too. I forgive him. I forgive her. You don't have to go to that person, but he's the one who has to hear it, okay? He's the one that has to hear it. So, he does. So he just lay it out to him. Forgive them in his sight, in his eyes. Because that's what counts. And mean it. You have to mean it, okay? You have to mean it. So, that kind of stuff, it weighs heavy on us. Because we're trying to do so good. We're trying to be so close to the Lord. We're just, trying to just, but yet then we'll get a moment of sadness, or a moment of doubt, or unsurety, or unworthiness, because there's something there, back here or way back here that is like, well, got that hanging in there. I hope he understands about that. I mean, I've let it go, but you haven't, because it's still there. And that's what you're worrying about. That's what you're worrying about. Let go. Let go. And remember what I said in the other videos about when you get mad at people who have been the exact same their entire life? that's when I knew I was setting my own self up. Just because I didn't want them to be like that anymore, just because I couldn't take them being like that anymore, and just because I couldn't understand how they couldn't move on, or say something different, or think a different way, or whatever it was, doesn't mean, just because I didn't want that, why was I getting mad when they were the exact same person they had always been? No different. Every day of their life, exact same way. So why was I getting mad at them every day when they were doing the exact same thing that they've done every day? Talked the same way, walked the same way, acted the same way, spoke the same way, said the same stupid things, saying the same wrong things, or the same whatever, it doesn't matter. Well, they're not changed. They're the same person. So when you get that and understand that, and I said, well, they're not changed. So no, just gotta let them go. Let them go. Just gotta love them for who they are. Doesn't matter if they're not like you. Maybe they don't do things the way you would do. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. Let them go. But forgiveness. And let me tell you this. All you have to do is ask Jesus for forgiveness and mean it. Done. Done. That fast. Done. It's not a hard thing to do. Like I said, prayer, a lot of people think that they're saying the wrong words in prayer. Really? Is there any wrong words in prayer? I don't know. Let me tell you this. I'm telling you, I've said this before. There are some people who can pray that, when it comes out, you're just like, them prayers. Oh, those are truly from the throne of heaven, because those words that coming out, I don't have those words. But you know what? It doesn't matter. He knows me. He knows how I am. He knows how I talk. He knows what I mean. He gets me. He gets you. He gets all of us. You don't have to be different. This is another thing is, you think that in order for you to be pleasing to the Lord, or to be, for him to hear you, and that you have to be something that you're not, that you have to be, well, we all try to be better because, we want to be the best, but just be you. He knows us. He'll forgive you. And it's just going to him. What he's looking at is this. Do you mean it? Are you sorry? Do you mean it? Just ask him to forgive you in whatever way you are, that is natural to you. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to pretend that, you use words that you don't even know what they mean because you heard somebody else praying and putting them in there. You talk to him just like you talk to everybody else. Be yourself, but mean it. Mean it from the heart. He'll forgive you. He'll forgive you. You just have to ask him. But you have to forgive everybody else. It's got to work both ways. You can't go. This is the thing is, do this before, or do it at the same time. It doesn't matter, but forgive everybody, and then when you ask the Lord to forgive you, you've got that off your heart. You understand? Get it off your heart. You can do this. You can do it. You can do it. It's hard. You think it's a hard thing. You do. You think it's a really hard thing. But it's not. And you feel so much better. And what do you care, really? What do you care? What do you care? We're going home soon. What do you care? And then you know what's going to happen if you don't? You're going to be like, all I had to do was forgive, and look, I didn't. And he meant it. He meant it. Anyway, just forgive him. Just forgive him. Love you. See you soon.